Namaste. Myself Triveni Khurana, Department of Faculty Physiotherapy and Diagnostic, JVM, Rajasthan. Today's topic is aerobic exercise. What is aerobic exercise? Aerobic exercise is a physical exercise that intends to improve the oxygen system. Aerobic means oxygen, and it refers to the use of oxygen in the body's metabolic or energy generating process. Many types of exercises are aerobic and by definition are performed at moderate levels of intensity for extended period of time. Now the history of aerobic exercise. Both the term and the specific exercise method were developed by Kenneth H. Hooper, MD, or exercise physiologist, and while some people with excellent muscle strength were still prone to poor performance at tasks such as long distance running, swimming, and bicycling, he began measuring systematic human performance using a bicycle ergometer and began measuring sustained performance in terms of a person's ability to use oxygen. His groundbreaking book Aerobics was published in 1968 and included scientific exercise programs using running, walking, swimming, and bicycling. Now, what is the benefit of aerobic exercise? Benefits of doing regular exercise are strengthening the muscle involved in respiration to facilitate the flow of air in and out of the lungs, strengthening and enlarging the heart muscle to improve its pumping efficiency and reduce the resting heart rate, known as aerobic conditioning, strengthening muscle throughout the body, improving circulation efficiency and reducing blood pressure, increasing the total number of red blood cells in body, facilitating transport of oxygen, improved mental health including reducing stress and lowering the incidence of depression, reducing the risk for diabetes. Now, what is aerobic capacity? Aerobic capacity describes the functional capacity of cardiorespiratory system, the heart, lungs, and blood vessels. Aerobic capacity is defined as the maximum amount of oxygen the body can use during a specified period, usually during intense exercise. It is a function of both cardiorespiratory performance and maximum ability to remove and utilize oxygen from circulating blood. To measure maximal aerobic capacity, an exercise physiologist or physician will perform a VO2 max test in which a subject will undergo progressively more strenuous exercise on a treadmill from an easy walk through to exhaustion. The individual is typically connected to a respirometer to measure oxygen consumption, and the speed is increased incrementally over a fixed duration of time. The higher the measured cardiorespiratory endurance level, the more oxygen has been transported to and used by exercising muscles, and the higher the level of intensity at which the individual can exercise. More simply stated, the higher the aerobic capacity, the higher the level of aerobic fitness. The Cooper and multi-stage fitness test can also be used to assess functional aerobic capacity for particular jobs or activities. The degree to which aerobic capacity can be improved by exercise varies very widely in the human population, while the average response to training is an approximately 17% increase in VO2 max. In any population, there are high responders who may as much as double the capacity, and low responders who will see little or no benefit from training. Studies indicate that approximately 10% of otherwise healthy individuals cannot improve their aerobic capacity with exercise at all. The degree of an individual's responsiveness is highly heritable, suggesting that this trait is genetically determined. Now, there are varieties of aerobic, or we can say cardiovascular exercises. These are indoor, outdoor, and indoor or outdoor. Indoor exercises such as stair climbing, elliptical trainer, indoor rower, stairmaster, stationary bicycle, treadmill. Outdoor aerobic exercises such as cross country skiing, cycling, inline skating, jogging, Nordic walking, football, rugby, soccer. Indoor or outdoor aerobic activities are kickboxing, swimming, jumping rope, and circuit training. There are various components of exercise training session, and these are warm-up, conditioning, and cool down. Warm-up at least 5 to 10 minutes of light to moderate intensity cardiorespiratory exercise and muscular endurance activities. Next, the conditioning phase. It is for at least 20 to 60 minutes of aerobic, resistance, neuromotor, or sports activities. Exercise bouts of 10 minutes are acceptable if the individual accumulates at least 20 to 60 minutes per day of daily aerobic exercise. Now, what should be the cool down period? It is of at least 5 to 10 minutes of light to moderate intensity cardiorespiratory and muscular endurance activities. And the last phase is stretching. Stretching for at least 10 minutes of stretching exercise performed after the warm-up or cool-down phase. Now, what should be the frequency for aerobic exercise? It is recommended as moderate intensity aerobic exercise done at least 5 days per week, or vigorous intensity aerobic exercise done at least 3 days per week, or a weekly combination of 3 to 5 days per week of moderate and vigorous intensity exercise. It is recommended for most adults to achieve and maintain health or fitness benefits. Now, what should be the aerobic exercise intensity? It is recommended as moderate. Example is 40 to 59% heart rate reserve to vigorous. For vigorous, heart rate reserve should be 60 to 89%. Intensity aerobic exercise is recommended for most adults, and the light exercises, that should be 30 to 39% of heart rate reserve to moderate intensity aerobic exercise can be beneficial in individuals who are deconditioned. Interval training may be an effective way to increase the total volume and average exercise intensity performed during an exercise session and may be beneficial for adults. Now, what is O2 max? VO2 max is the highest value obtained during maximal or peak exercise, or it can be estimated from some maximal exercise test. Now, what should be the exercise time, or we can say aerobic exercise duration recommendations are: most adults should accumulate 30 to 60 minutes per day of moderate intensity exercise, 20 to 60 minutes per day of vigorous intensity exercise, or a combination of moderate and vigorous intensity exercise daily to attain the recommended targeted volumes of exercise. This recommended amount of exercise may be accumulated in one continuous exercise session or in bouts of more than 10 minutes over the course of a day. Duration of exercise less than recommended can be beneficial in some individuals. Now, what should be the aerobic exercise type? It should be recommended as rhythmic aerobic exercise of at least moderate intensity that involve large muscle groups and requires little skill to perform is recommended for all adults to improve health and cardiorespiratory fitness. Other exercise and sports requiring skills to perform or higher level of fitness are recommended only for individuals possessing adequate skill and fitness to perform the activity. Now, what is exercise volume or exercise quantity? Exercise volume is the product of frequency, intensity and time, or FIT, that is frequency, intensity and time. What should be the exercise volume? Aerobic exercise volume recommended as a target volume of more than 500 to 1000 MET, that is muscle equivalent per minute per week is recommended for most adults. This volume is approximately equal to 1000 kilocalories per week of moderate intensity. Lower exercise volumes can have health or fitness benefits for deconditioned individuals. However, greater volumes may be needed for weight management. Now, what are the various effects on our system? First is effect on the cardiovascular system. The beneficial effect of exercise on the cardiovascular system is well documented. There is a direct relation between the physical inactivity and cardiovascular mortality, and physical inactivity is an independent risk factor for the development of coronary artery disease. There is a dose-response relation between the amount of exercise performed from approximately 700 to 2000 kilocalorie of energy expenditure per week, and all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease mortality in middle-aged and elderly populations. The greatest potential for reduced mortality is in the sedentary who become moderately active, and the most beneficial effects of physical activity on cardiorespiratory or cardiovascular disease mortality can be attained through moderate intensity activity, that is 40% to 60% of maximal oxygen uptake depending on age. Persons who remain sedentary have the highest risk for all-cause and cardiovascular disease mortality. Now, the effect on immune system. Although there have been hundreds of studies on exercise and the immune system, there is little direct evidence on its connection to illness. Epidemiological evidence suggests that moderate exercise has a beneficial effect on the human immune system, while extreme exercise impairs it, an effect which is modeled in a Jacob. Moderate exercise has been associated with a 29% decreased incidence of upper respiratory tract infections, but studies of marathon runners found that their prolonged high-intensity exercise was associated with an increased risk of an infection, although another study did not find the effect. Immune cell functions are impaired following acute sessions of prolonged high-intensity exercise, and some studies have found that athletes are at higher risk for infections. The immune systems of athletes and non-athletes are generally similar. Athletes may have slightly elevated natural killer cell count and cytolytic action, but these are unlikely to be clinically significant. Vitamin C supplementations has been associated with lower URTIs in marathon runners. Biomarkers of inflammation such as C-reactive protein, which are associated with chronic diseases, are reduced in active individuals relative to sedentary individuals. And the positive effects of exercise may be due to its anti-inflammatory effects. The depression in the immune system following acute bouts of exercise may be one of the mechanisms for this anti-inflammatory effect. Now, the effect of aerobic exercise on brain function. A 2008 review of cognitive enrichment therapies concluded that physical activity and aerobic exercise in particular enhances older adults' cognitive function. It means exercise improves cognitive functioning via improvement of hippocampus dependent spatial learning and enhancement of synaptic plasticity and neurogenesis. In addition, physical activity has been shown to be neuroprotective in many neurodegenerative and neuromuscular diseases. For instance, it reduces the risk of developing dementia. Furthermore, evidence suggests that frequent exercise may resolve alcohol-induced brain damage. There are several possibilities for why exercise is beneficial for the brain. Increasing the blood and oxygen flow to the brain, increasing growth factor that help create new nerve cells and promote synaptic plasticity, increasing chemicals in the brain that help cognition such as dopamine, glutamate, norepinephrine and serotonin. Physical activity is thought to have other beneficial effects related to cognition as it increases level of nerve growth factors which support the survival and growth of a number of neuronal cells. Now, effect of aerobic exercise on depression. A number of factors may contribute to depression, including being overweight, low self-esteem, stress, and anxiety. Endorphins act as a natural pain reliever and antidepressant in the body. Endorphins have long been regarded as responsible for what is known to runner's high, which is a euphoric feeling of a person receives from intense physical exertion. However, recent research indicates that anandamide may possibly play a greater role than endorphins in runner's high. When a person exercises, level of both circulating serotonin and endorphins are increased. These levels are known to stay elevated even several days after exercise is discontinued, possibly contributing to improvement in mood, increased self-esteem, and weight management. Exercise alone is a potential prevention method and or treatment of mild forms of depression. Now, the last, what is the aerobic exercise effects on sleep? A 2010 review of published scientific research suggested that exercise generally improves sleep for most people and helps sleep disorders such as insomnia. The optimum time to exercise may be 4 to 8 hours before bedtime. So, exercise at any time of a day is beneficial, with the possible exception of heavy exercises taken shortly before bedtime, which may disturb sleep. There is, in any case, insufficient evidence to draw detailed conclusion about the relationship between exercise and sleep, not proven. Thank you.